I thought I'd shoot a video showing you guys squash that I'm growing this year. These are all winter squash that I have here. This is a pumpkin variety right here. This is probably the one that I planted most recently. This was late June. This pumpkin went into the ground. This is a F1 hybrid that I created last year. It's a cross between a miniature pumpkin that has a really nice flavor, and then probably a 3 or 4 pound pumpkin that comes from Thailand, and is just one of the most productive pumpkins that I grew last year, and also makes a really good summer squash. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. I'd put money on this being the best tasting winter squash that I'll be growing this year. Over here we've got a butternut. This will be a smaller butternut, probably averaging less than 2 pounds in size. This is a little bit of a slow burner here. Think of it like a freight train. They both take a while before they start. Both parents take a while before they start producing flowers. They're putting all their energy into the vines right now, and they start producing the fruit a little bit later than some of my other varieties. But then once they get going, they just keep going. So I expect this to put on a good crop here, and looking forward to harvesting these. Most of these, in fact, all 3-4 of these beds that I have here will be going to our winter CSA that we're doing this year. They'll be nice, small squash, so they'll fit pretty easily into a CSA package. Coming over here now to my other squash patch. These have some persistent nut sedge over here. That's why I have the tarps down. I pull the tarps back as the vines grow longer. These are the squash that I planted earliest this year. Still pretty late compared to when most people plant squash. So these went into the ground, I think it was early June. It's actually a little bit closer to mid-June. So yeah, a little bit later than most people plant squash, but I love this variety because this one is really more, look at that. It produces just a ton of fruit very early. They're probably gonna stay small. Given how productive it is, I wouldn't be surprised if they're averaging about 2 pounds. But each of these plants here, you know, will probably set about 20 or so these little butternuts. And there are just so many of them. Everywhere you look, you can see more and more back there. So I've never really had a butternut that was quite this productive. We'll see if it affects flavor any. Hoping it doesn't affect the eating quality. Sometimes that can happen, but the 2 parent varieties, again, were just some of the best tasting squash that I have grown. So I'd put money on them being quite tasty. So I've got 3 beds here, 6 foot on center, that I planted to these butternuts. And I'm hoping to get at least 1,000 pounds. I would not be surprised if I'm closer to 1,500 pounds. 1,000 pounds would be a great harvest. But something closer to 1,500 pounds would really be more like a very, very impressive harvest from regions where it's easier to grow squash. But we have high disease pressure here, high pest pressure, lots of vine borers, and lots of squash bugs. These plants will be infested with squash bugs in a few more weeks, really. So that's kind of why I like these 2 butternut varieties here, because they're not like a freight train like that other butternut variety. They really just take off and grow very, very quickly. And they set a lot of fruit early on, and that's definitely beneficial when you have high pest pressure, because it grows faster than they can multiply. You can see this variety. I have 2 butternut varieties here. I got this one and then the one up there, and the one near us right here. A little bit of a more compact plant. which I really like. Really doesn't matter to me how long the vines are, but for other market growers, a lot of market growers look for more compact vines because it fits better into a market garden. If you're not planting, you know, a 1/4 acre of squash at a time, if you're only planting about 3-4 beds like this, then you really want something that has somewhat more compact vines. So yeah, this one has the growth habit that I'm looking for. Excellent leaf coverage here. You can see there's zero light getting down there to the soil, which is exactly what you're looking for in terms of weed suppression. And that's probably the best thing about these two varieties here. And this one, longer vines, but definitely has that early productivity that I'm looking for. So I'll probably cross these two butternut varieties to each other, and next year I'll be growing the F2 generation. And I'll start my selection work. So here you can see a little bit of our disease already set in. We have the squash bugs. Here they transmit a disease called cucurbit yellow vine disease, CYVD, and that stunts the plant growth. It essentially prevents the plant from setting any growth, creating any new growth, and the squash bugs can then really destroy the plant. The nymphs will consume the leaves, and then once the leaves have started dying off, they begin attacking the fruit, and then all the fruit rots. So the idea is we want something that is really just more of a bullet train instead of a freight train, and I expect to be harvesting the first fruit from this no more than 80 days after transplanting. It'll probably be closer to 75 days after transplanting, but I might just wait a few more days so I can harvest a few more at one go. So I've got lots more pumpkins out here that I just put in the ground this week. I still have my tarps in place to kill off some of the perennial weeds, but that'll be another video for another time.